Hey podcast and YouTube, welcome back to another episode of #AskDan. This is where you guys can write to me and ask me your questions, and instead of me just going back one-on-one, which I will of course continue to do, I will take either my favorite questions or the questions that are a little bit different, and I'll record them on this, whatever this is. So for the podcast and YouTube. And today there are three questions that I've picked to answer. They all have a similar theme around working from home, but with a little bit of a difference because obviously, as we've talked about quite a lot, this is not working from home in the traditional sense, and I'm sure I will come on to that as we go on. So for YouTube, if you see me swiveling over this way, it's because I've written the questions down on the whiteboard. Otherwise, I will forget them. For the podcast, this is probably just a plug that you should check this out on YouTube. So the first question is quite simply, I'm struggling working from home. I'm struggling with working from home. What do I do? I agree. I'm completely struggling working from home, and I think taking it a step back, and for those of you who were able to join this morning's coffee chat, LinkedIn Live with Agnes, was amazing because we spent a lot of time talking about this. Working from home and flexible working are often interchangeable, and the reason is because working from home has in the past been seen as a type of flexible working. This is the least flexible working situation I've experienced since I worked in retail. This is mandated working from home. This is forced. This is not flexible, and I think some of then our thinking with how we feel about flexible working or working from home has to change because it's at odds with one another. So to answer the question of how do you deal with that because you're struggling with working from home, I think of it as we're learning to do something new. We're not. It's kind of like if you can play the guitar and then someone hands you a ukulele, and you think, oh, well, I kind of get the principle, so I'll be fine, and then realize you're not. It kind of dumbs it down a little bit, but do you know what I mean? We understand the concept of working from home, and we have, for many of us who I know listen to this, have been working from home either permanently for a long time or once a week or whatever it may be. This is very, very different, and we have to acknowledge that it's different because usually when we work from home, we're not isolated to our houses. We're not anxious to go outside because of who we may literally bump into. We don't have our kids here, and most of us, we don't have our partners, significant others with us in the house as well. So I just look at it as I'm learning a new skill. Way back when I first started working from home, that was new and I had to adjust to that. Now, granted, hopefully this isn't going to last anywhere near as long as, years, but we are all being forced to adapt and learn quite quickly. So my takeaway is, yes, you are struggling. Just don't be afraid of that. I know it doesn't really help, but it kind of is what it is, and don't worry if you are struggling because every single person, myself included, that I speak to is struggling. So anyway, I hope that helps. So let's move on to question number 2, which is I like this one. Should I dress up, as in wear office clothes, when I'm working from home? Now, again, YouTube, you will see me in a shirt. But my answer is no. Well, my answer is it depends on what works for you. Do I think it should be mandated? Absolutely not. There is no empirical evidence that I have seen that suggests that people work harder or are in a quote business mindset when they wear work attire, whatever that may be. Now, that's at a macro level. On an individual level, you might completely disagree, and that's cool because that works for you. So I also get it's a bit ironic for me to be sat here in business attire saying you don't need to work from home in business attire. The only reason that I'm doing this is to try and have some sort of normality in what is a completely unnormal situation. So, this week I started off in a shirt and a jumper. I'm in a shirt today. I was in a t-shirt yesterday. So, normally when I work from home, it's just a t-shirt and jeans. But I'm in the same way, and we talked about this on the LinkedIn Live, in the same way that with my son being off school, we still make up his school packed lunch in his school lunchbox and put it in his school rucksack just to try and create some, control the normals that we can control because it helps us, I guess. That is where I'd say if that helps you to wear work clothes, then do it. And that's cool. And I've also heard people say, I like to, you get these, and again, really plug in the LinkedIn Live. So if you didn't check it, go to my LinkedIn and look at that live recording. I'll have posted about it. It's really, really cool. And also Agnes is on the podcast, the Career Dad Show podcast, as a guest. I believe that is what day is it? I have no idea what day it is. So it's the 26th of March today on not the 30th of March, the week after, the 6th of April. The interview with Agnes goes live, and she covers this in great detail. But we talked about the different types of characters that you get at work, not like a gossipy talk about it, as in like the four different main types of business personalities, and you do get this type called the dividers, and they really want to keep home and work completely separate, and that's cool. That's what works for them. So I've heard people say that they have a completely different work wardrobe to their leisure or non-work wardrobe, and part of the reason is they don't want to feel how they feel at the weekend when they're wearing their work clothes. So again, if it works for you, it works for you. Going back to the question and taking a slant on it of should it be mandated? Absolutely not. But again, if it works for you, then cool. I'm all for it. I have seen as well a couple of people doing like dress up Fridays. So you normally have dress down Fridays or whatever it may be. I quite like dress up Fridays. So I work in kind of a business casual kind of office environment anyway. So I don't have to wear suits, and I do miss it a little bit, and I keep toying with the idea of going with like a super dress up Friday, like almost tux. I don't know, maybe that's just me. So anyway, let me know. #AskDan. And that's the thing. As I'm going through this, do feel free to, I probably should have mentioned this, you can get in touch with me through Instagram. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, just leave a comment. Instagram, there's the Career Dad website, so careerdad.co.uk. Email dan@careerdad.co.uk. But I mean, as people keep reminding me, this is everywhere. So Career Dad's everywhere. Just find and let me know what you want me to answer. So the last question is, and this was from the US. My employer is worried that I will be doing non-work stuff during work hours whilst I'm working from home. What can I do about that? Now I just fundamentally hate that this question is being asked, because for me, one of the benefits of working from home is that I'm doing non-work stuff in work hours. Now, going back to those 4 categories of types of business, of kind of work personalities, I know that I fall into the one that's fluid. So I don't really see a barrier between my personal life and my work life. I see it as one life, and they both flow into one another. So I do work in the evenings and the weekends, and sometimes people just see that part and go, hey, that guy's a workaholic. What's his deal? He needs to be with his family. What they don't see is that I take 2 hours off in the afternoon to go and play football or go get an ice cream with the kids or whatever. So, yeah, and also if I'm on a conference call that I don't need to be on a video call for, that is just a chat, then I'll do the dishes, or I'll put the hoover around, or I'll, do the laundry, because it means that there's time free at the weekend where we can then enjoy family time. So I fundamentally disagree with the question, as in how can you demonstrate to your employer that you are only doing work during work hours when working from home? Because I'd say I'd demonstrate to your employer that you're not. Now, obviously, that's quite a cavalier approach, and it depends on the culture. I mean, the fact that this question's even being asked implies that the culture's probably not great. But I think the thing, when I've worked with companies or individuals, particularly line managers within companies, about how they can try and, I guess, what's the word? How they can work through this is just to run a test where you give people tasks to accomplish and you let them go and accomplish them, that isn't mandated that they need to be in an office between 9 to 5, or it's just accomplish this in the best way that you can. So that helps. But I mean, without having a bit of back and forth, it's quite actually hard, and maybe that's something that I learn about this format. It's quite hard to know how to best answer your specific question, but as a general, I think the fact that your employer is needing to mandate that to you, I find a little bit worrying. I think ultimately, if you're delivering and your results show that you're delivering, it shouldn't matter. But yeah, it's a tricky one. So that's it. They're the 3 questions that were on #AskDan this week. If you guys keep enjoying this format, and thank you to everyone who has left me a comment so far saying that they like this. So as I say, I will still continue with the interview style podcast. This is just something new that I'm hoping to release once a week as well. So every Wednesday or Thursday, we're just getting our heads around that at the moment. Say we, it's just me. And yeah, I think the last thing that I'd kind of leave you with is just going back to that first question. Just if you're struggling, don't worry. This is the start of something new. We'll figure it out. It's not going to be great, but we'll make it better, even if it's minutely moving the needle day by day. And by the time that this is all over, we will have gained so many new skills, so much more empathy, so much more gratitude for what we have. And I think that probably, based on some of the other questions that are coming in, is going to be a topic for the next one of these. So yeah, just stay safe, and thank you as always for checking in. Take care, guys.